words. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty nervous, but I actually kind of like being nervous because, one, I'm not nervous very often, so it's kind of cool to feel something new. But also, when I'm nervous, that means I'm probably doing something that's gonna be pretty cool, or I'm taking a risk that could pay off, which is always cool. So, some mix of excitement in there. I just want to share a little bit about joy, because, joy's cool, we want to be happy. So, if you've never heard of the word joy before, I got the definition from the dictionary. Joy, the emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune, or a state of happiness or bliss. It's pretty cool. I would want to be in a state of happiness or bliss. I don't know about you. I would assume so, or this won't make a lot of sense to you. So, we all want to be happy. So, it's cool because God also wants us to be happy, like to have joy, And I think sometimes we forget that. We know that God made us, and I think sometimes there's a disconnect, and we forget that He made us to be happy.
Yeah.
And He made us intricately. It's not like God didn't go down to the human factory and go, okay, that one, give him brown hair. That one, blue eyes. Okay, send him out into the world. No, when God made us, it says in Psalms 139, 13, and 14, it says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." It says He knit us together. I don't know if you've ever knit something. It's a pretty intricate process. You don't just go, I'm going to take these needles and this yarn, and then I'm going to get a sweater. I'm sure somewhere in between, it'll happen.
Yeah.
You have to know what you're making. You have to plan it out. You have to know what details you want to know, how big the sweater is going to be, what it's going to look like, what color is it, is there going to be any little details on it. You got to know that before you make it, or you're going to end up with a bunch of yarn. So that's the same way God makes us. He doesn't just throw in some human features and send us out. He makes everything about us, everything we like, how we are. And when He makes us, He's like, this person's going to be really strong. They're going to be creative, and they're going to want to know things. And people are going to look to them as a leader. And they're also going to really like playing football. And for some reason, they're going to have this affinity for orange juice. They're going to love it so much. Even those small little details He makes about us, because He cares about us. He wants us to be happy. So He gives us things to be happy about.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool, because He's proud of those things. He makes us, and then He goes, that's a masterpiece. Every single one of us. He doesn't make garbage. Nothing He makes is subpar. It's not even par, it's above par. Everything God makes is a hole in one. It's pretty cool. You're a hole in one. It's really encouraging to know, the creator of the universe also created me and thinks I'm a masterpiece. Sometimes I don't think I'm a masterpiece. So it's pretty cool that someone who knows a little bit more than me, everything more than me, thinks I am a masterpiece.
Good.
Yeah.
And next point. One of the wisest people I know likes to say that joy is a choice. That person is my mom. She's right there. Everyone look at her. She came here to support me. And she likes to say that joy is a choice. And that's not like bad things aren't going to happen, or that when bad things happen that you're going to be happy about it.
Right.
You're not going to break your arm and be like, yeah, this is pain. Cool. No, it's more like how you respond afterwards is the choice.
Yeah,
You could choose to let a bad situation get you down and take you out and steal your joy, because the enemy's always out to steal your joy. He doesn't want you to be happy. So you have to choose, are you going to let this bring you down, or are you going to get up, keep going, and choose joy? Even just a couple days ago, for example, I woke up for work, except instead of waking up for work, I woke up half an hour after I was supposed to be there.
Oh.
That's not good, because I don't live close to where I work. So I woke up half an hour late. It takes me a half hour to get there. I didn't get a shower. I didn't get to brush my teeth or nothing. I was all gross when I walked in there an hour late. And I had to stay an hour late to make up for the time that I lost. And I could have easily let that get me down. Like, great, now I'm all smelly and I'm gross and I got to stay late. And everyone's looking at me because I'm late. And it's a whole thing, and now I don't get to enjoy the rest of my day. I could have let that ruin my day. But no, because one, that's letting the enemy win. I'm not about to do that. If he steals your joy, you let him win. He has this, he's got this chalkboard, right? That's how I see it. He's got a chalkboard with your name and his name. And when he steals your joy successfully, he puts a little tally by his name. We don't want that. You don't want Satan to have more points than you. Come on, you don't want to lose. At least if you're competitive, that helps me. And even in more severe situations, being late for work, day goes on, time goes on, I'll get over it. Even in severe situations, God is still there. He still loves you, and he still wants you to have joy. Like in Acts, right, chapter 16, Paul, the disciple, and his pal Silas, they went to this colony called Philippi. Anyways, they were there spreading the message of Jesus, and wouldn't you know it, they end up in prison, as they do. And not only did they end up in prison, they were beaten brutally. In Acts 16:23, it says, after they had been severely flogged, they were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. Flogged. I don't know if you've heard that word. Flogging is a beating with sticks or whips. They were beaten with sticks and whips and thrown into the middle of prison. If there's a time to get discouraged, I think that's it. At any point, Paul and Silas could have been like, that's a bummer. All right, I guess we're in jail now. Rats. And given up. They didn't do that. They chose to remain joyful. It says in Acts 16:25, about midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and other prisoners were listening to them. They were worshiping and praying. They're all bruised and swollen, probably really tired, but it's midnight, right? They could be asleep. No, they're up, praying and worshiping God, because they still know, they know who their God is, that he's got good for them, and they're not going to let an obstacle like this take out their joy. They're not going to give up. And not only are they doing that, the other prisoners are listening and taking interest. They see these guys come in, all beaten and bloody, swollen, thrown into a cell, and they don't even, these two guys, can you imagine being one of the other prisoners? Who are these guys? The other prisoners must have known, they've got something in them, right. Something that sets them apart. And because of that, it goes on to say in verse 26, suddenly, there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken, and all at once, all prison doors flew open, and everyone's chains came loose.
Wow.
That's what happens when you don't lose your joy, when you don't give up, and you keep pushing into God. Your chains come loose. You get free.
Yeah, come on.
And when they knew who their God was. And when you know who your God is, that he loves you and wants you to be happy, it's a lot easier to stay positive. They knew, even in prison, God didn't leave them. Have you ever heard someone say, you can't say that here, this is a church. That's the only place that God's listening to you, or wants to hear what you have to say.
True.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he can hear you wherever you go. Which is cool, that shouldn't scare you. Because that means you can always talk to him. He's never out of reach for you. Nowhere you go is he gonna abandon you.
Yeah.
So even in the darkest pit, you can call out to him, and he's still there. And he's still got good things for you. But you have to make that choice. You have to choose God. You have to choose to be joyful. He gave us free will for a reason.
Yeah.
And if Paul could do that in prison, I think you guys can do that wherever you're at. I believe in you. And another cool thing about God is that he is all about love. When Jesus was asked what the two most important commandments are, he said, love your God and love your neighbor.
Yeah.
The two most important things we can do in God's eyes are love. It's about spreading joy. He wants us to be happy. He doesn't make those commandments to keep us from having fun or anything. He gives us commandments to be happy, to spread happiness. His commandments are kind of like, were you ever little and your mom said, don't touch the stove while it's on? And you go, I'm going to touch the stove while it's on. So she turns away and you touch the stove while it's on, and you burn your hand, and you go, ow, I burned my hand. What are the odds? And your mom goes, did we learn a little lesson now? And you go, yeah. Or if you're me, you go, no, but you really did learn a lesson. You just don't want her to know. It's kind of how God's commands are. He says, love me, love other people. And sometimes we just go, no, it's all about me. I'm just going to watch out for number one. I'm going to love myself. This will work. And then a couple years later, we're like, oh, I'm kind of lonely. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't really have anyone to go to. Maybe I should have been nicer to some people. God's just like, yeah, that's why I said that. It says in John 15:10-12, if you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. It goes back to joy. He just wants us to love and be all about it. When you're truly full of joy, it's like you can't stop it from spreading. When you've truly got God's love in you, you can't help but spread it to other people.
Yeah.
It goes all around. It's awesome. Like, have you ever met those people that they're just always happy? Like, it seems like there's nothing ever wrong with them. There's always something good going on in their life. And it's probably not that their life is perfect and nothing's going wrong. It's probably more they know who their God is, and they're not going to let small things or big things get in the way of them spreading their joy, because they've got it in them. And like, have you ever heard of when someone goes to Starbucks and they pay for the drink of the person behind them, and that person behind them is like, that's awesome, I'm going to pay for the person's drink behind me. And then it starts a line and 50 free drinks go out, and everyone's just feeling good because one person was having a good day and decided to spread that to the person behind them, and then it just caught like wildfire because that's how joy works. It's awesome. That's what God's all about. He wants us to spread the love, spread the joy. Like, in his eyes, he said it himself. Jesus said it. That's the most important commandment. It's loving him and then loving others. It's just spreading joy. Spread the love, spread the happiness, be happy.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Nice.
That's all I've got to say. Hope that was a little encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.